Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Julio, and today we are talking about Gavin Newsom and what he did to make those oil companies leave the states. Gas stations are closing in masses. It is insane how much capital Gavin Newsom wiped out of California in just overnight. It is insane. Watch this video.
If they've done nothing wrong, provide us information. If you've done nothing wrong, once you provide this information, I will stand behind you, all of you, and say, my God, you've always had our back. You've always been there for us. We were wrong. I was wrong.
The thing is, you were wrong, and it doesn't really take much to figure that out. You took 5 oil companies, including Chevron, to court, and you've been drastically over-regulating these companies, and now Chevron's like, we're out of here. We're going to Houston, Texas. First of all, how do you set a profit cap on gas? That sounds like socialism. And then how do you make it so that whenever they exceed that, they then have to pay back the residents of the state of California? Yeah, how's that working so far? I look outside and the gas prices are still pretty high. Before we banned Russian oil imports before the Russian-Ukraine war, you imported 15 million barrels of Russian oil back in 2021. Do you want to tell your constituents here in California that you're funding that war? Because you refuse to drill for oil here in our state. And Texas makes up 42% of our oil supply, and that's despite all the regulations that are coming from the Biden administration. And look at the kind of politicians that we breed here in California. Now Kamala Harris is coming up. She's now officially the Democratic nominee, and she's saying things like she wants to ban fracking. That would be a total disaster for America.
Phillips 66 is shutting down its Los Angeles refinery this week, and California is about to lose 139,000 barrels per day of gasoline production. The Wilmington facility will idle units in phases through December, and the entire operation will be permanently offline by year-end, according to sources who spoke with Reuters. That is 8.3% of California's total refining capacity disappearing in the next few weeks. 600 employees and 300 contractors are losing their jobs by December 31st. Phillips 66 says only a handful will be reassigned to the company's marine terminal operations. That is 900 families affected right before the new year. The company announced this back in October, citing market dynamics, but knowing it was coming does not make the impact any less severe.
That is insane. Like if we recapping this, the first video you guys saw it was a few years back. Now, as well, I said we're 2 years out, and now we're seeing the results of Gavin Newsom policies. This new Green Deal policy of Gavin Newsom, like it is insane. You remember a few months back they were talking about eliminating stove, eliminating internal combustion cars like regular cars by year 2035, 2030. So Gavin Newsom is not new on this agenda, but now we're seeing the people of California paying the price for it. Even the oil companies are leaving. They're taking $1 billion in losses instead of staying in California. Now they're moving to here, to downtown, to Houston, Texas. But imagine that if we were making 42%, Houston making 42% of the oil that they use in California, Philly 66 and the other companies moving to Houston are they're going to make up easy over 50 to 60% of the oil used in California. I mean, stop drilling, importing oil. How do you need to import oil when you have California? It is vastly huge on oil reserve. All you have to do is drill. But he believed on the Green New Deal, which is driving crazy the people of California, and they're fleeing. They're fleeing in masses. They're going to Florida, Tennessee, Texas, and so many other red states throughout the United States. I mean, people in California deserve better. Here in Texas, we're paying, I seen gas prices at 199, 192, under $2. But still, in California, they're paying over five, even $6 a gallon, which is ridiculous. Let's continue with the video.
Phillips 66 is 1.3 billion gallons of gasoline annually that this refinery produced. The state currently imports about 1.1 billion gallons per year, which is 8% of its supply. With the Phillips 66 closure, that import dependency jumps to 17%, according to Skip York, chief energy strategist for Turner Mason and Company. Here is what Californians need to understand about where their gas will now come from. Vessel tracking data from Kepler shows California hit a 4-year high in May 2025, importing 279,000 barrels per day. 70% of those imports came from South Korea and other Asian exporters. We are talking about 187,000 barrels per day just from Asia. The remaining imports are coming from some unexpected places. India sent 39,000 barrels per day of gasoline and alkylate in May, the highest since January 2024. California even started importing from the Bahamas, which shipping experts say is typically too expensive to make economic sense. One gasoline trader explained that sailing a tanker from Texas to California via the Bahamas usually does not work financially, but the refinery outages opened up the arbitrage to the West Coast from everywhere. A gasoline tanker voyage from Singapore to California takes 30 to 40 days, according to York. That means the gasoline you pump in February was loaded onto a ship in December. Any disruption, such as a typhoon, shipping delays, or port congestion, adds weeks to that timeline. Compare that to pipelines, which deliver continuously, or rail shipments, which take days, not weeks. California has 0 pipelines connecting it to other refining regions. None from Texas, none from the Gulf Coast, nothing. The state operates as what analysts call a fuel island. Every drop of imported gasoline must arrive by ocean tanker. The Jones Act makes it prohibitively expensive to ship between U.S. ports unless you use American-flagged vessels, and there are only 55 such petroleum tankers in the entire country.
Well, that is insane to listen. I don't know. I don't know what Gavin Newsom is thinking. I mean, drop it down below. Give me a comment. What's going through Gavin Newsom head? Like, why you don't have pipeline connecting with other states where you could get your supply of oil easily and provide your people with energy that they needed and lower the prices? I guess they just want everything expensive. I guess they want their people to suffer. I guess they want the beautiful state of California looking like a third world country. But now he is importing expensive oil. No wonder how this, why it's so expensive in California. It is crazy. I feel bad for the people in California. They deserve a lot better than Gavin Newsom. And by the way, he aiming for run to for the presidency in 2028, which is a disaster if he ever wins. It would be very detrimental for the state, for the United States of America and their allies. Insane.
Phillips 66 is shutting down a reformulated blend stock for oxygenate blending. Only a small number of refineries worldwide have the equipment to produce this specific blend. Phillips 66 is planning to produce some California-grade gasoline at its Washington refinery, and some refineries in India and South Korea can meet these specifications, according to the Energy Information Administration. Sumit Ratolia from Kepler told reporters that California's refining capacity is shrinking faster than its fuel demand is declining, forcing the state into a long-term import-dependent position. The California Energy Commission projects that as much as 30% of the state's gasoline demand will need to come from imports by 2026, especially in the northern half of the state. Wholesale rack prices are exhibiting rapid daily swings as traders react to tightening supply. In some instances, wholesale margins have jumped to more than 90 cents per gallon, more than double typical levels, fueled by reduced output and delays in replenishing supply via imports, according to Mansfield Energy's July 2025 analysis. California gasoline prices averaged $4.68 per gallon when imports hit their peak in May, while the national average was $3.12, according to Gas Buddy data. That is a difference of $1.56 per gallon. Patrick DeHaan from Gas Buddy warned that more waterborne imports will raise fuel costs in the most populous state, and the opening of unusual trade routes shows the state still has options, but at significantly higher costs.
That is crazy. Gavin Newsom need to fix this. Either he fix it or let somebody else actually fix the problem. It is it. I mean, they are kind of behind the power curve because it will take years to dig those pipelines and make fuel more accessible and not expensive. But if you now add this tax to it, as you know, we pay tax and state and federal tax on fuel. I just dig a little bit. I did my little bit of research and find out that we are paying a lot on tax fuel. Like we're paying a lot. Check this out. We have right here the top 10 states with the lowest and the highest states with gasoline taxes 2025. So Grok gave me the lowest in the United States. So this is the tax that you pay per gallon in cents. Right here, we got Alaska, roughly, let's make 8.9 cents or 9 cents per gallon in taxes. Then Hawaii, they pay 18.5 cents per gallon. New Mexico, 18.9. Mississippi, between 18.4 and 18.8. Missouri, 20 to 22 cents per gallon, but it varies. So we have Texas. We have a fixed exercise tax, which is 20 cents. Now, if we go into the most expensive, we jump in position number 41, New Jersey, 40 to 50 cents. That is expensive per gallon. So if you put, let's say, 10 gallons of fuel, you'll be paying roughly, wow, $5 in taxes every time you fill up the tank. That is insane. Now, in 50th place is California, 79 cents. Crazy. That is in state taxes. Now, let's put up state and federal combined. This is getting worse. Check this out. Alaska, 27.35 cents per gallon on federal and state taxes. And that's the lowest. Texas, we pay 38.4 cents per gallon. So if your gallon of fuel is $2, you're paying literally. So 1 gallon is 198. So out of that, it would be like $1 and 58 cents, roughly 52 cents, and then the rest is taxes. Insane. So let's jump to California. Let's see. Oh, by the way, check this out. 89 cents, point three, almost 90 cents. Wow, almost $1 in taxes. $1. Whoa, never thought about that. Never thought about that. That is expensive. Expensive. That is ridiculous. 90, almost 90 cents per gallon. Wow. Wow. Rick. Let me know down below how much you pay per gallon in your state. Shoot me a text down below. Let me know. That is insane. Never thought that we paid that much money on per gallon, per fuel, like per gallon. It is crazy. Or these federal and state taxes would be, I mean, literally in every state you get taxed to oblivion. I mean, you get federal income tax, you get state income tax, you pay taxes on fuel, you pay taxes, you pay taxes on mortgage, you pay taxes on your loans, you pay taxes on your bills, You pay taxes on your food. That's crazy. That is insane. Let's watch the last video before we close out.
This is a non New Jersey issue, but I found it interesting and thought I would share. The other day, I talked about an article in the Manhattan Contrarian talking about fossil fuels versus green energy. And then I saw this other video pop up. And with California's aggressive environmental policies, what's happening is they are closing two major refineries, which together produce 10% of that state's output that supply much of the West Coast, including Nevada. So the closures are driven by California's low carbon fuel standard. And it's a further push for electrification. So from what I can see, the two refineries are Phillips 66 Rodeo Refinery, which is in the San Francisco Bay Area, and it converted to biofuel production in late 2025. And then Valero's Wilmington Refinery in Los Angeles is slated to shut down by Q1 2026. That removes 284,000 barrels a day of refining capacity. Nevada imports 80% of its gasoline from California. So the experts are predicting that the gas prices in Nevada could rise by 88 cents a gallon in 2026 and over $1 more a gallon in 2030 by 2031. And that's because there's going to be a reduced supply and there's going to be increased trucking costs from the alternative sources like Utah or the Gulf Coast. We're also looking at the possibility of short-term shortages during peak summer demand. So their governor, Joe Lombardo, advanced a resolution creating a fuel resiliency subcommittee under the Nevada Infrastructure Cabinet to assess supply chains, identify regulatory weaknesses, and explore alternatives like in-state refining or expanding pipelines. Some people are saying this leads to national security concerns with vulnerabilities during emergencies. It looks like Arizona is having similar risks, and specifically Nevada's tourism logistics like Las Vegas are going to have economic hits from this. So again, it has nothing to do with New Jersey, but I think it's interesting to look at the policies of one state affecting another state, and how it can cause need for even more infrastructure, which seems kind of opposite of the intended goal. So I guess we'll see what happens.
There we go. We are back. So this is what runs people out of their states. Their politicians' policies. If you just look at the policies without looking at whether it's red or blue, you will understand that policy is very important. And Gavin Newsom, with bad policies, are running people out of their states. People are leaving. Running people out. Yeah, they're running people out. I mean, he literally kicking people out. It is insane. They rather to fund uh, electrification or the Green New Deal instead of just going the simple route. You know, frack and drill, and you will lower the prices in California. Just imagine California would be run like Texas, like as far as energy, man, people would be fleeing to California. California has a great. I heard good things about California. So I wish one day when California turns red, I would go to California. Definitely. All right, guys, please like and share the channel. Really appreciate it. Every like or every subscribe means means a lot to me. Thank you so much. God bless you. Take care. I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good weekend and also Merry Christmas. Goodbye.